Hey, what's up guys? Rampedi here, another World Cup themed show. Lionel Messi stars again. African champions out, and our front over reliant on killing Mbappe. We gotta talk about it. Let's go.
That's how it goes?
They keep asking about the best when they know it's me.
Okay.
Asking about the rest when they know it's me.
Straight in, I guess.
You know it's me.
The first team to qualify for the quarterfinals was the Netherlands, and they took on the US. What a game it was. I thought it was going to be very even. It started off that way, but eventually you could just see the experience of the Dutch, the fact that they've been at this stage many times, more times than the US in recent time. You could just see the difference. And in the way that they were managing the game, managing the spaces as well between the defense, midfield, and the attack. There was just no gaps for US to penetrate. Not at all. And when they took the lead through Denzel Dumfries having to put in that cross and Memphis Depay finishing it, you could just see that perhaps the Dutch just have a little bit too much. And you got to give credit to the US because they tried all that they can to get back into the game. And the last thing you do at this level of the competition is to sort of go to sleep, and which is what they did. And just before the halftime, Dile Bint makes it the second. And then that's when you know that the mountain is just a little bit too high for the Americans to come back into the game. And when you look at the game overall, you probably have to say they were a little bit naive. They were just a little bit naive. I think they didn't manage it well. And sometimes you look at some of these players, as young as they are, they're not playing necessarily for the big teams. Your Bayern Munich's, your Barcelona's. So that level of experience is not there. You have a player that's playing for Leeds. You have a player that's playing in the Championship. You have a player who doesn't even start for Juventus at times. So having to sort of pick themselves up to that level is going to be very hard. And there's two players that I want to highlight from the Netherlands team. Firstly, Memphis Depay. His Barcelona stats, as you can see on your screen. Only 3 games played, 1 goal scored. Lewandowski's come in, and that was the guy that they've put all their eggs into the basket for, that he should be getting the goals. And Memphis is no more getting those starts. And what is key is his contract is expiring at the end of the season. I'm thinking there's teams that can do with him. I'm thinking probably the figure in January is not going to be as high because he'll have 6 months left. So I think teams can invest. I really do. Versatile, can play in a number of positions. And the second player, Denzel Dumfries, a modern-day fullback. It reminds me of Andy Robertson, but on the right-hand side. He can attack, he can defend, and he gives the Dutch so much life. He's such a key player. He scored the 3rd goal as well, and nobody saw him that side. That's the thing. So I have to say, for him, he plays for Inter, very key player. It's going to be dangerous for the Dutch when they go into the next round. And as for the US, I think they can be proud of their performances and the way that they played. You remember that England performance, how did they play, how they dominated Wales in the first half. And when you look at their squad, 13 players are 24 years old and under. And guess who's hosting the 2026 World Cup? It's the US. And I think that was the plan. And I think that they'll be in a better shape when that tournament comes around. But congratulations to the Dutch. Another outstanding performance from Lionel Messi as Argentina moved through to the next round of the World Cup. They'll be facing the Dutch. That's the team. And I have to say, they control possession in the first half. I thought Australia was being Australia. They just do not have the same, you would say, quality that Argentina have. And one thing that I loved about Argentina is how they move the ball around, around the box. And eventually when they get to that final third of the box, it's when the burst comes in. It's when they start to speed it up. And Messi scoring the first goal. Luckily, Otamendi helped it out. It was an assist from him. I don't think he meant to do that. And that was Messi's 1,000th game. And look at those numbers, man. That's over 700 goals and over 200 assists. This man is amazing. I really do believe that we will not be able to have a player like this. And I'm putting him and Ronaldo in the same bracket. And the only thing I can wish for people is, just to enjoy them while they're still there. And as the game moved on, you could just see Argentina let Australia have the ball. But the problem that Australia was doing, though, passing around at the back. And if you don't have that kind of experience to pass around at the back, you don't want to be doing this with this Argentina side. It's not the Messi this time. It's the Alvarez. It's those players that have energy to run for days. This guy is putting Lautaro Martinez on the bench. And that's how key he was. He pressed, he got the goal. I have to also would say is that after that goal was scored, that's the worry that came in of Argentina. I mentioned this before last week on the show, speaking about the fact that them dropping their tempo. We saw that against Saudi Arabia, you know? We saw that the fact that when they played against a Mexico side, after they took the 2-0 lead, it's just sort of they dropped the tempo, and sometimes that allows the team to get back. And Australia got that lucky goal. And that is purely because I don't think Argentina were bad in that period. It's just that they gave confidence to Australia to come back, giving them position on the ball, not pressing high enough as well. And you're facing Netherlands next. And this team has got more quality within their side. This is not Saudi Arabia. And by the way, this is the knockout stages. So if you make one mistake, you're out. It's not about, oh, hey, we can win the other 2 games and we can qualify. But for as long as Messi's within that side and as long as he's on top of his game, because if Lautaro Martinez finishes those 2 chances that Messi created for him, the scoreline ends up 4-1, right? But still, the fact that they drop their tempo at times is something that they have to worry about. And that's why I think Netherlands can hurt them. Was that France versus Poland? Or was it Kylian Mbappe against Poland? Interesting game. Strangely enough, I thought Poland gave it a go. I thought they performed better than what they did against Argentina. Argentina seemed like they sat back entirely, and that's what they tried to do. But this time around, they pushed forward. They pressed. And you found it was France playing on the transition and not Poland. And they created the first clear-cut chance in the game. And that's when Hugo Lloris made that huge save. The crazy thing is, I know France won, right? And there were goals that were scored. But when you look at the overall 90 minutes, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I thought France was predictable. I mean, it was pretty obvious what they were trying to do, trying to get the ball out to Kylian Mbappe, for him to do something. And sometimes they even ignored what Dembele was doing on the right-hand side, even though he was wide open. They kept doing it over and over again. And I get it. Sometimes you need that specific tool that works out. Maybe it's this screwdriver that can open instead of the scissor, right? And that's what it did. It did open. It found Olivier Giroud. And Giroud scoring the goal, surpassing Thierry Henry as the top goal scorer of France of all time. Talking about having an underrated career. I mean, I watch him and I think of the first time I saw him at Arsenal because he was bought from Montpellier. And he helped Montpellier win the league in Ligue 1. And he comes to Arsenal, and I always just felt like I'm not sure if he could take it to the next level. But just how he's been able to just take his career where he is now, scoring the goals for France, winning trophies with Arsenal, Chelsea, and now also leading AC Milan to the Serie A, just kind of shows his trajectory in the sense that he keeps on growing. Even after Giroud got the lead, France still played on the counter, still sat back, and still waited to give the ball to Kylian Mbappe to do something. And you have to say, Kylian Mbappe is special. He's a special talent. You know, the goal that he scored, the arrogance that he had, the confidence that he has as well. You know, my first introduction to Kylian Mbappe was Monaco against Manchester City. Pep Guardiola was the coach of Manchester City, but Monaco knocked them out. I remember they scored 5-3, and I think he scored 2, and he was only 17 then. And that's when I was like, this guy, maybe we might be talking about him for quite some time. And I was thinking maybe 10 years plus. But at this moment that we're going, we might be looking at 15 years, never mind 10 years plus. Also, another thing that he's added to his game, he's a creator. He's also passing the ball as well. And he creates his own chances. That's the key thing about him. You look at Haaland, you think of he needs chances, he needs service. Whereas Mbappe can get the ball and he can run at defenders and he can score the goal. Look at this list, guys. Now, the list that you're seeing on your screen at this moment is the all-time top goal scorers in World Cup finals. Not the qualifiers, the World Cup finals. Miroslav Klose with 16 goals, the all-time top scorer. And under him, Ronaldo Nazario, the phenomenon. And then Gerd Müller, Just Fontaine, Pele. And just look right underneath there. That's Mbappe. I mean, he's only 23 years old. He's only been to 2 World Cups. And already he has 9 goals, level with Messi, and 1 more than Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, he's going to be at the next probably 2-3 World Cups at this rate. The only thing is that if England can look after him, I think 40% of the job is done. Because I watch France and I think They're way too over-reliant on Kylian Mbappe. You sort of watch that game and you think, I wonder what Griezmann done. I wonder what Dembele done. I wonder what Rabiot done. And Rabiot works hard in the midfield. But it's like if Mbappe is just not there to create that ounce of magic, you just do not know where the goal is going to come from. And that's the part where England can take serious advantage of. And as you saw with their game against Senegal, it's so crazy. You watch this game and Senegal was nervous. I thought they started nervous because obviously it was a big occasion. And I think England was taking time to hurt them. And eventually, Senegal starts growing into confidence, right? They start creating chances. Ismail Assar's running down the wing. And then there was that huge save Pickford made. But again, at this level, because you feel like the 2 goals that they scored just before the half-time were just purely transitional football. It's when they get the ball, they counter press, and then it becomes a goal out of the blue. And that's when you could see that Senegal's rest defense was just simply not good enough, especially when they lose the ball. The positions that they were in to sort of be able to stop the ball getting to the other side was just simply not good enough. Jude Bellingham carrying the ball. He was man of the match, growing, maturity as well. Only 19 years old. You sort of ask yourself, we need to get to this level where we sort of also churning out players who can represent their national team at this level. He controlled the game, and as you can see with the second goal, he's the one that finds Foden, Foden finds Kane, and that was simply a sucker punch to Senegal. I think everybody knew from then on, they're just not going to get back. And one thing that is key that everybody must remember is that this Senegalese side does not have a Sadio Mane. You know, Idrissa Gana Gueye could not play because he was suspended as well. And Saka making it a third. Even him, he's growing as well. And you have to say, France comes next, right? And I spoke about the fact that if they can look after Kylian Mbappe, I think 40% of the job is done. But France will be the biggest test since Italy. Not the group stage games that they played now. I'm talking about Italy in the Euro final. And if Gareth Southgate can get over this France side, that depleted France side as well, you'd probably say now they're starting to make progress. Now they're starting to beat teams that people don't think that they can beat. And the reason why I maybe give England the slight advantage in this game is the fact that they have more weapons than France. You look at France's goal scorers. You know, it's Olivier Giroud, yes. It's Kylian Mbappe, yes. There's not many of them. But whereas when you look at with England, there's a number of goal scorers. Saka has scored. Grealish has scored. Harry Kane scored recently against Senegal. So there's a number of scorers that are scoring within that team. Foden too. And they have a strong bench. I think it's stronger than France. So if England ever wanted a chance to beat a world-class side, this was the moment. But we must also remember that France are the defending champions. And I think this is moments where, or these are games where the likes of Camavinga are going to need to step up. Tchouaméni is going to have to carry on these performances. Rabiot is also going to have to pull through as well. And I'll tell you, they will not want to lose that title easily. But I tell you now, if I had to predict, I probably would say 1-1. I can't give you what happens in extra time. But I can tell you, I think this game will definitely go into extra time. Asian teams have been such a breath of fresh air to this tournament. I tell you, man, they never stop running. And one thing I like about what I've seen in the group stages is the fact that you almost know what to expect every 4 years. And they showed it against Croatia today. Croatia couldn't contain them in the first half. They just kept running and running all the time. You could just see Croatia was trying to slow down the tempo, but they just kept on going and going. But one thing that Croatia do have within themselves is that they're such a unit. They're such a team, and they also have that endurance to also keep going too. And they had to pick up the pace because Japan took the lead in the first half. And in the second half, Croatia were like, okay, seeing that you took the lead, they changed it up. And you could sense that the goal was coming. And the goal eventually came. But what was more impressive about Croatia, because they've also, in the last tournament, made it all the way to the final. So they got that experience. They changed their game. They adapted to the game to sort of put pressure on Japan, having to put long balls. The crosses were coming in, and Japan couldn't cope with it. Perisic having to get the equalizer. And it goes into extra time, and that's when you start to see, like, okay, you know, it becomes then a chess game because both teams don't want to make the mistake. No one wants to make the mistake. No one wants to concede, but they keep on going. And eventually, when you could see who had more energy was Croatia, because the penalties that they took versus what Japan took, you could just see that Japan gave everything. Because even their penalties, as much as Livakovic was the hero by making 3 penalty saves, I mean, those penalties were savable. They were not great. no, not great at all. But Croatia showing that their stamina is much more than Japan. But also another team as well. I look at them just like I look at the US, and I think they can be proud of the contribution that they made. And I tell you now, at the next tournament, you're going to get the same thing. You're going to get upset. You're going to get a team that won't stop running. And one thing that is key is that these players are now playing in Bundesliga. These players are now playing in the Premier League. So they've got a plan, and it'll be interesting to see how they look in 4 years' time. The Samba Boys took on South Korea, the favorites to win the World Cup. Neymar was back and in smiles. You saw the pictures. And I have to say, what I think was motivating the side to get the victory over South Korea was the fact that what Pele was going through. And I wish him well. I wish him a speedy recovery, because at this current moment, he's not feeling well. He's been in the hospital, but that's just driven on this Brazil side. You could just see it even in the stands as well. Just the tributes that they were putting out for Pele. And that just showed that this team was together and was willing to say, you know what, we're going to represent the greatest Brazilian player to play the game. And they delivered. They take on Croatia. And Croatia is not going to be easy. But the advantage that Brazil have this time around is the fact that Croatia went all the way with Japan. And it seemed like it was a taxing encounter. So you sort of feel that will Croatia have enough time to recover when they face the Brazilians? And here's the odds of the game. Brazil are favorites. And as much as I think Croatia will give them a game, but I am feeling very confident that Brazil will get over Croatia and we'll see the Samba Boys in the semifinal. It's time for our weekly bet of the week. The purpose of this segment is to show you my bet slip in hopes that it helps yours light in green. The more accurate, the more cash you get. Let's get into it. Interesting selections I've made for this week. I did not pick a winner. Nope. But the game tonight, Portugal against Switzerland, is in the bet slip. And that's the first game. I've gone with over 2.5. See the trend. Netherlands against Argentina, over 2.5. We're not finished. The last game, England against France, over 2.5. My odds, 11.3. That's just 3 games. That's it. So I'm basically telling you guys there will be 3 goals or more in each of those games. 350 into a lovely 4,000 Rand. And those are my selections. That is Bet of the Week, sponsored by Betway. Remember to practice responsible betting at betway.co.za. Until the next one, all the best. We've come to the end of the show, but before I go, gotta always leave you with that one thing. The quarterfinals are set for the World Cup. I'm looking forward to that France versus England tie. And you know which key battle that you gotta look out for? Tuchemeni, Jude Bellingham. I'm looking forward to that. And for you that's watching, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're notified for future episodes.